G'day there guys, spending each day promising to break bad habits yet never following through at the end of the day. Back at it again with another episode of r/am I the a-hole. Now if you think anyone is the a-hole in today's episode, I want you to tell me down in the comments, sit back, relax, and enjoy the content. Posted by user, Maybe Don't Kill Them, titled, Am I the a-hole for possibly making my parents homeless? This isn't just me, it includes my twin brother. My brother and I, 17 male, were an accidental pregnancy. For context, our older sibling is 37 and he has a kid who goes to our high school. Our nearest sibling in age is 28. My parents always made it clear that we weren't supposed to exist. They were never abusive or neglectful or anything, but they were kind of cold our whole childhood. My brother and I will graduate high school in about a week, and I will be 18 in 2 weeks. My parents have told us that as soon as we turn 18, we have to pay rent. Neither of us have jobs, and we probably won't be able to get jobs right now. I confided in my sister that I'm really stressed about this, and she offered to let my brother and I stay with her while we're in university, completely free of charge. I'm really grateful for this, and we're planning on accepting her offer. I told my parents about this, and they freaked out. I guess my mum was planning to move to part-time work, and they needed rent from my brother and I to keep up with rent. They said that they have provided for us our whole lives, and we should pay them back now that we're almost adults. I mean, it's true. They have given us everything we needed for 18 years, and I really don't want them to be homeless if they can't afford the rent. But I don't know how I would even afford to live with them. Am I the a-hole? I would say no, you're not the a-hole for trying to survive. They are adults, they can find somewhere else to rent after you two move out, somewhere that is affordable for them. This isn't the rock your parents should be dying on, and they've made it clear they don't want you in their life. You don't have any obligation to live with them once you're 18. You can choose to, but I wouldn't personally want to live with someone that's so emotionally disconnected from me, and made it clear that I'm not supposed to exist. Kind of is like, hey, I would rather have had an abortion than have you, but here you are. You're sticking around, not paying rent until you're 18. You can't move out. Who wants to be stuck in a household like that? Not the a-hole OP. Edit. My brother and I both have some savings, so we could conceivably pay rent for a few months. I also feel guilty moving in with my sister because she has 3 little kids and a cat to take care of, and I don't want to put any extra strain on her. None of my siblings have a great relationship with our parents, so my parents won't ask them for help. Edit number 2, I'm actually shocked by the support here. I've been talking it over with my brother, and we're going to move out as soon as we legally can. Thanks, guys. Not the a-hole. Your parents are completely in the wrong. They have 6 children, 4 of whom are actual adults, and their life plan is relying on 2 not even 18-year-olds financially? That makes no sense. You do not owe your parents anything, to be quite honest. Whether or not you were an accident, you were their child, and in that regard, they owe you. You do not owe them by virtue of having birthed you. If they need financial assistance, they should go to their adult children. Don't worry about getting a job. Worry about your education and your emotional well-being. Go and live with your sister and let your parents figure their lives out. That's not your responsibility. They are treating you and your twin brother like strangers, so let them rent out your bedrooms to strangers for the rent. It will be a less resentful relationship between them and you and your brother can focus on your education. Offer to help babysit your sister's 3 kids, and/or help around the house since she's letting you stay there. You can help her like she's helping you, and you will all live much happier this way. I'm sorry your parents are like this, and good luck. Agree. Help your sister out as much as you can. If not money, babysitting, cleaning, cooking. She is incredibly generous to take you both in. Screw your parents, not the a-hole. Absolutely. I already babysit sometimes, so if I move in, I'm going to help out as much as I can. Plus, the kids love me. I'm the cool uncle. I also have twin sons who turn 18 in 2 weeks. I could never imagine doing this to my own kids. But then you say that your parents don't have a great relationship with your older siblings either, so maybe they just weren't cut out to be good parents despite having many kids. Don't feel bad, be good for your sister, and not the a-hole. Not the a-hole? It is literally their job as parents to provide for you for the first 18 years. You owe them nothing for that. Yes, not the a-hole. If they had, say, decided not to feed or clothe their children, or forced them to sleep outside without shelter, they would have been arrested for child neglect and endangerment. OP, these people had a legal obligation to provide for you. Don't let them make you feel like they did you some special favors by birthing you and keeping you alive. Now they want a paycheck from you? Nope. There is clearly a reason that your older siblings want nothing to do with your parents. Spoiler alert, it's because your parents suck. Go live with the people that want to see you thrive, not the ones manipulating and guilting you so they can take advantage. Parents who sit there and act like providing their kids with the most basic things is like the equivalent of buying them designer clothes and a Lamborghini are the biggest a-holes in the world. I should know, I was raised by one. Update, am I the a-hole for possibly making my parents homeless? Hey folks, it's been like 3 weeks and many things have happened. I graduated high school, go me. I turned 18 and I moved out. I finally feel like I'm adulting, kind of. I moved in with my sister the day after my birthday and I've been living with her for a bit over 2 weeks. It's been really weird. They do all of this stuff in her house that we never did as kids. Family dinners every night? Never done it once until now. My sister and her fiancé carve out blocks of time to spend with the kids. My parents never did that. My oldest nephew, he's 10, dropped an open can of pineapple in the kitchen a few days ago. I expected him to get yelled at, but my sister just helped him clean it up and told him to grab a new can from the pantry. That was weird. My parents were never that chill. When I was a kid, I would see these perfect families on TV. Shout out to Dinosaur Train, lol. And my parents always told me that those kinds of parents didn't exist, that it was all just made up for the TV. That real parents don't take that much of an interest in their kids' lives and interests. I believed them until now. In the past few weeks, I've seen my sister and her fiancé spend hours making model planes with my oldest nephew or rocking the youngest to sleep when she was overtired. That stuff never happened when I was a kid. My niece, she's 4, woke up in the middle of the night last week, crying about something. Instead of telling her to shut the hell up and go to bed, my sister's fiancé got up and sat with her until she fell asleep. I guess I was just surprised that my experiences aren't the norm. Anyway, both my brother and I are doing really well here. My brother has been cooking a lot, and he's going to culinary school, and everyone seems to really appreciate it. I've been spending time with my nieces and nephew, and I've played more Minecraft these past 2 weeks than I think I've played in my entire life. If anyone knows what Titanfall 2 is, please help me out. I've been an adult for less than a month, and these children and their newfangled video games already confuse me. This is all just a very long-winded way to say thanks. If I hadn't posted here, I don't think I would have moved out. My savings would basically be drained, and I wouldn't be as happy as I am now. So thank you. Now I guess it's time to see if I can figure out how to do an update post. Edit, shout out for my sister for basically raising me for 12 years and also being an amazing parent. I could just go and say all this to her face, but there's so many stairs in this house and I'm lazy. And here he says to the sister, who also comments below, Kalani, how many times am I going to have to say it before you accept that you're a good person? Every time I go to thank you for giving up space in your house for me and Cam, you say that if you didn't help us out, it would have been someone else. I get that you have a strangely low self-esteem, as evidenced by your AITA post, but can you just accept that you're an unbelievably good person and move on so I can finally thank you? And the sister comments below. So you can't come downstairs to compliment me, but you can come downstairs to tell me to go upstairs to get my phone and then come back downstairs so you can see my reaction to you complimenting me? I see how it is. Honestly, I'm just happy you're here. I told you before, me and Michael and Daniel have been waiting so long to move you guys out of that house. I'm just the one who has the available rooms. If Michael wasn't overseas, it would have been him. If Daniel had another room, it would have been him. But anyways, love you both. It's been really nice to have some extra hands around the house, especially with Cam and his cooking. I see why he's going to culinary school. The kids love you, Ethan. I think you're a great kid. Even Aris likes you, and that's pretty darn rare. Keep being that person you are, and I think this arrangement is going to work out fantastic. Edits. Okay everyone, just come over and we can have pie and hot chocolate. Love you all, and remember who your family is doesn't define you. So you can write this whole super sappy reply to me, but you can't look up and say it to me? I'm literally sitting on the same ass couch as you. So wholesome, oh my god. I think that's where we're going to leave that post. That's wholesome enough, and I think we got all the good update goodness we needed. Posted by user NoStepFam. Titled, Am I the a-hole for leaving my mum's house after my stepsister wrecked my car? Backstory, my parents split when I was like 7. I'm about 90% sure my mum cheated because she found her new husband like 8 months later. My mum's new husband is nice enough and I like him, but me and his daughter didn't hit it off at all. My mum and her dad were good at stopping us from fighting too much, but we have a lot of hard feelings from the past. My dad, on the other hand, is married and his new wife has a kid, but I get on so much better with my stepbrother than my stepsister. Situation. I have a car that my dad got me for my 16th birthday. I'm 17 and I like driving it. It's not a good or nice car, but I've driven up from Southern California to Northern Cali and back, and it didn't break down, so it's a pretty good car, lol. My stepsister wanted to borrow it, and I was okay with that, but she totaled the thing. I was ticked. My dad doesn't make a lot, and I chipped in for that, and when I demanded money to fix it, she said she wasn't gonna give me a dime. I went to my mum and her dad to ask for money to fix it, and they said to ask my dad to fix it because it's his car. I lost it and told them that their daughter wrecked it so they should pay, but they weren't budging. I had enough and said exactly, fine then, I'll go live with my dad full time. See ya. I called an Uber, but my mum did come outside and try and get me to come back inside to talk this out, but I was too ticked to really think straight. I hopped in the Uber back to my dad's place. When I told him what happened, he said that while he's happy that I want to stay full time with him, that I should talk better to my parents and me blowing up was wrong. I don't really think that what I did was wrong, because they wouldn't pay for a wreck their daughter made. He says he will help me out with the damages to the car, so I guess there's that, but it still isn't the same. This happened about a week ago, and I live full time with my dad. My mum has asked for me to come home and get back to our old system, but I told her I'm not, and I need some time before I talk to her again. My stepsister has told me to grow up and stop being a baby, and I told her to either pay me for the damages or frick off. Am I the a-hole here? Wow, talk about enabling! Talk about enabling a monster! Dear Lord, in what universe could OP be the a-hole in this one? Oh, sorry I crashed your car, but screw you. I'm not paying you a dime and my parents are gonna defend me for it. I don't blame him for leaving the mum's house. Why is the mum trying to drag him back? She knows. She's gotta know she's done wrong. They are terrible people for that. I'm also sure the insurance company won't be too happy to hear about someone that was probably not on the insurance policy wrecking the car, because they'd be like, oh, it's out of our hands, sorry buddy. I don't blame OP. I wouldn't go back to that house if I was him. I would wait until they apologize and make amends and force her to pay. Those are my conditions. I don't negotiate with terrorists. Not the a-hole. Your stepsister wrecked your car and refused to pay for damages, and your mother and stepfather refused to back you up on this. That is wrong. Insist they pay something towards the damaged car. I'm not taking this to court, but if they don't pay, well, then I'm not living there ever again. You're taking it to court because you're forcing your parents to do so. You can't just switch homes like that. The courts will have to be involved in order to let you do that. Also, a minor can't sue anyone, but your dad could. What about your insurance? OP is 17. The courts won't do anything about the custody issue as they're almost an adult. If OP chooses to live full-time with the dad, custody can easily change with OP being 17, and then dad can get child support. That can be put towards a car. Ooh, I really like that. Not the a-hole. Your mum and her family are crappy people. You will be much happier not living with them. Hell yeah, I will. My stepmom is good, not great, but I like her, and me and my stepbrother get on wonderfully. By the way, never let someone drive your car, especially if you don't have full coverage. Even then, you will pay for it with insurance increases. Yeah, that was my fault. I thought I could trust her because I practically helped her learn how to drive, and she was super cautious back then. When your stepsister insisted that you grow up, I damn near popped a blood vessel. Don't go back to your crappy mum's place. She can deal with the bullcrap. Just sit back and get through school and work/college and do well in life. Update: am I the a-hole for leaving my mum's house after my stepsister wrecked my car? Okay, like a lot of you guys said, is that I should take my mum and stepsister to court. I was about to suggest that to my dad before my mum called. She was practically crying, saying how she's wrong and wishes she could take back what happened. I told her that I wanted her to pay me back for the damages to the car. My mum apologized, and she did. She also wanted me to come back again, and I agreed because I miss my mum and some of my belongings were there. Me and my stepsister are far from good. I've moved back in, and I think we may have talked like once. My mum forced her to apologize, but she wasn't gonna apologize on her own. She started all this and doesn't want to talk, so that's on her, not me. Thank you all for your feedback. I'm glad to hear you're getting compensated, but did your stepsister face any consequences at all for wrecking your car and her subsequent awful behavior? No, she's spoiled as hell. No way she's going to apologize. Honestly, it seems like her father clearly favors her and just tolerates you, with your mum being a pushover for him and going along with what he wants. This, by extension, being what your stepsister wants, not very healthy for either of you. Glad to hear that, but sucks to be your dad, I guess. I still see him just 2 weeks every month instead of the full month that I got with him when I was mad at my mum. I know, but switching back and forth like he was some convenient tool is not right either. Trust me, I know this is not what you meant, but it's just how it seems. Your dad is a wonderful man, so wonderful he gave you advice and told you the things you did wrong while at the same time taking care of the situation for you, which was housing you whilst you were mad at your mum. And I get it, he is supposed to do that. But what if he wasn't around? What if he couldn't help? You have to be cool-headed and patient and not let your emotions get the best of you. If your dad wasn't around, I doubt you would have left the house, but appreciate the things your dad does. It's the little things we don't notice that we tend to miss when they aren't around anymore. I'm sure he was super happy to have you for the whole month. My respects to that man, since my dad is the opposite. Give your dad more respect. This next one we've covered before, but they posted an update, so I'm just going to read the first post and then go through the comments in the update. Posted by user SpyDadThrowaway, titled, "Am I the a-hole for installing a keylogger in my son's computer?" I'm a single dad, 43 years old, computer programmer. My son, let's call him Jack, is 17 years old. Jack's mum died when he was 10, but thankfully we both handled our grief together quite well. When Jack got his first laptop 5 years ago, I took my time explaining how the internet worked, the dangers, etc. I allowed him to create a social media account as long as he allowed me to check on it whenever I wanted, which was a privilege I made use of a few times until he turned 15 and I realized I could trust him, having never asked for it since then. He allowed me to know where he stored his account passwords just in case, but I never really looked for them, so his social media and computer activity have been a complete mystery to me in the past couple of years. However, I was always fearful he would try to hide something or get into something dangerous, so I installed a keylogger just in case, always thinking about his safety. I never had to use it, and the more I watched him grow up, I eventually realized I would never really use it, but I never bothered to remove it. My sister and I were talking about this in a casual conversation regarding privacy and privacy apps, and my niece overheard us. They were born in the same year. She got offended I would do such a thing, claiming it was a horrible invasion of Jack's privacy, and that I should be ashamed, and the only reason she hasn't told my son was because my sister told her she'd be grounded for meddling in my parenting. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for having installed a keylogger even though I never have to use it? And I said yes, and a lot of the community said yes to this one. It is a huge invasion of privacy. Update: am I the a-hole for installing a keylogger in my son's computer? So this blew up. I read all the comments and I really appreciate the insight on both sides, which I will not comment nor give my opinion on, since a verdict is a verdict. Each person is entitled to their own opinion, but I want you to know that I took into consideration all of them, even with the majority considering me an a-hole. It took me 2 days of pondering, especially with the threat of my niece telling Jack everything, before I sat him down and talked to him. I came out clean, told him about the keylogger, and then explained to him what I did, why I did it, and how it worked. Jack believed me when I told him I had never looked at anything. We both shared a laugh when he told me he believed me because A, I'm a complete airhead, so it's perfectly believable that I forgot about the keylogger for years, and B, he admitted to having watched porn, and he is sure I would have commented on it because both my sister and I both openly dislike the porn industry. He told me he isn't mad at me, that he's glad I told him about it instead of, say, 20 years from now, and that he would have done the same thing in my situation, keylogger and everything. I showed him how to remove it and how to look for it in further devices, and we had a look at a few laptops together. I ended up buying him a new one and helped him set it up. Yes, no keyloggers. He let me know the password he used in case it was necessary. Regarding my niece, she didn't tell him anything, but my sister and I had a conversation with them at the same time over dinner. My niece used the same argument as many of you did, with it being the same as regarding a diary, and it was one that both my sister and I agreed with. My sister was admittedly much stricter with her daughter than I was with my son, since she checked her texts and Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp messages, but she admitted it was because of her massive fear that everything that is uploaded to the internet lasts forever, and she was afraid of things like nudes being leaked, undesired contact with bad people, cyberbullying, or any possible hurtful things. They ended up agreeing or disagreeing, and my sister promised to start trusting my niece more with these things, since she knows she won't be able to do anything about it once she turns 18. I want to thank you all for your feedback and for your suggestions over how I should handle this, even the ones who called me an a-hole. I felt like I owed you this update. I'm glad to hear this turned out so well, and bonus to your sister and you talking to your kids together, and I'm glad she's pulling back on the monitoring for niece. Gotta say though, I'm so glad I grew up in the internet age before this parental monitoring software craze. Hey, 2000s kids, we don't need to be monitored. Let's go check out E-Bombs World, let's do it. With how nuts my mother is nowadays about everything, from 5G to vaccines, I am so glad she was clueless 15 years ago. Still sounds clueless to be fair. She's like super smart in some ways, and then believes this nonsense and things people post on Facebook. It's sad. The internet and cable news actually did to our parents' generations what they were afraid it would do to us. You're a good dad, OP. From this small insight into your life, I can tell you genuinely just care about your son and want the best for him, even if it doesn't follow your own interests. I wish my own dad could have been more like you. Alright, I think that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I know it's a little bit shorter than usual, but, good things come in small packages, don't they? But, Anyway, guys, I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to today. Tell me down in the comments what you thought of this one, what you think of your day so far, what do you think of it? Hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you in the next episode. Say hi to outro Markee. Alright guys, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one today. Tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I would love you to subscribe because I love your face and I love seeing you here every single day that you are here in this video. I don't know what else to say today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content. I do have a second channel that's called Markee2. Link should be up on the screen somewhere here if you don't have adblock installed. If you don't know where to find the channel, you can go to my main page. Just click on the Markee face and it should be on the right, somewhere there, or on channels if you're on phone. Hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.